If you can't perfect the little things, you'll never get to the big things because you're not committed and you don't create the culture of discipline. And it's only through the doing over and over and over and over and the thinking around the impact of your doing that you can modify things in order to get better.
So let's talk about your process for filtering communication. And yesterday at this meeting that we're at, you did like a 4-hour keynote on this, and it involved lots of pieces of paper, and you had Vanna White behind you writing it. I would like to be able to distill a piece of that information into a podcast and into the video without being able to have those pieces of paper. So what part of that do you think that you could share with your
I think
audience?
the principles. I think first and foremost, the principles. Creating a mechanism for your brain to filter information in real time that allows you to make instantaneous decisions as to where you should put your energy or efforts. If you can't perfect the little things, you'll never get to the big things because you're not committed and you don't create the culture of discipline. And it's only through the doing over and over and over and over and the thinking around the impact of your doing that you can modify things in order to get better. And it's through the modification of the very thing you're doing that allows you to become an expert at it and master it. But if you don't make the first phone call and you're not consistent with it, then you'll never get to the big thing, which is mastering it. And if you can't master it, you can't teach others to do it. So that is a logical process that I took from that then, and I've literally created all my businesses around that. And so when I'm communicating with people, I don't need to listen to 20 minutes as to why they're struggling. I just simply need to ask one question.
What is the question?
What is the one thing that you've identified in your business that you have mastered that's caused you to be as successful as you are?
And what type of response how do you base your judgment based off of their response?
Because as soon as they respond and tell me what it is, then my follow-up question that I learned by listening and reading and understanding is, how many people have you taught to master that same thing? And what's been the impact on your business?
It's so simple.
It's so simple, and yet people stare at you with a blank look in their face, and they might get through the first question, but they never get through the second question. How many people have you specifically and intentfully developed to multiply the impact of what you mastered so your business can breathe and grow effortlessly? And people look at you. You know why? Because they get so caught up in the what they do. And Michael Gerber talks about this in E-Myth. Jim Collins talks about it on a more macro level in big corporations, from good to great, great by choice, how the mighty fall. That there's these little ecosystems that get created in these environments. And if you're an owner of a business, you control the tempo and the messaging in that ecosystem. But if you're not aware of the one thing that you've mastered, that you've taught everybody else to do, then you're not going to be aware of the next thing. It's a cultural situation. If you're highly aware of what you do that makes you great, and you've created a rhythm to do it over and over and over, and you've duplicated it, and you've taught others, and they're able to create the same level of impact or greater level of impact, law of large numbers kicks in, and a culture of incremental improvement, continuous incremental improvement, becomes the standard. When you're running your business start-stop heuristically, so everything is one-off and it's start-stop, and you can't identify one thing you've mastered, and then you can't identify, or if you can do that, then you can't identify how you've replicated that and amplified it by teaching others to master it.